I just finished recording this. And then my computer shut itself off for no reason. And it didn't save any of my video. And I'm well on my way to drunk, so let's get to it. Welcome. I'm someone you know, most likely. If you don't know me, welcome. You stumbled onto this totally on accident. Today I'm doing my first installment of a little show I like to call Gin Me Up, where I review gin. I drink a lot of gin. I have drank a lot of gin. It's not really something to be proud of, but now I kind of know what good gin is. So I'm going to be passing on that knowledge to you. In the interests of keeping things scientific, I'm going to be doing this show in a 3-tier format. Part 1 is going to be trying the gin just straight up like a shot. I mean, not taking it like a shot. We're trying to taste it. We're not trying to just get party girl drunk. Number 2, in a martini. And number 3, in a gin and tonic. So for the martini, we're going to be using the same vermouth every time. In this case, it is the Tribuno Extra Dry. I like my martinis drier, on the drier side. I don't like super sweet vermouth. I don't think it tastes good, and I don't think it makes good martinis. If you like it, that's awesome. Good for you. Drink it. Drink what makes you happy. Unless it's bleach, don't drink bleach. And for the gin and tonics, I'm going to be using the ever classy Fago tonic water. The reason I'm using that is because it's cheap, and I know I can get it at the store just around the corner. So if I run out, I can just walk over there. So all that said, the gin that we are looking at this week is a new gin that I just bought today and had not tried until my previous video that died. This is called the St. George Botanivore Gin. It's very fancy looking, and it's also kind of expensive. It's about $32 to $34 for a 750 ml bottle, which is about on par with Hendrick's, which I would consider some of the better gin out there. And I'll do a full review on Hendrick's if I can get my hands on some, or if someone sends me some. So St. George describes its gin thusly. A symphony of flavor composed of 19 different botanical ingredients working in concert. Our intricate recipe and skillful distillation combine to create a bright, beautiful spirit that is lush, floral, spicy, and earthy all at the same time, making this your preferred gin on its own or in cocktails of any stripe. We'll find out, St. George. I was going to make a joke about dragon slaying, and then I decided it just wouldn't make any sense. So we're going to skip that part and move right on to straight up gin. So I'm just doing a little shot of gin. It's not a full proper shot because I want to taste it. I don't want to just get drunk. It's not Florida. I'm not on spring break. It's not Cancun or Cabo or whatever white girls do. So the scent of this gin, both this time and the first time I drank it, is not my favorite. It's very earthy. It's got a lot of God, it sounds like dirt. Like, it kind of makes me think of when you fresh dig into loam, which is an awesome smell on its own. It's not what I'm looking for when I'm drinking something. I'm getting a little bit of that botanical, florally notes that they're talking about, something very verdant and springtime, and you're going through a field and there's flowers and it's great and it's all sun warm and beautiful. I do get hints of that, but the first thing I really notice when I smell this is it kind of smells like paint thinner. Not bad paint thinner, but still not something you immediately want to drink. So, bottoms up. So, that's not a bad reaction. The taste of this gin is really, really nice, straight up. It's got a lot of brightness, citrus towards the beginning, and then it kind of moves, glides down into this more earthy, verdant, planty sort of vibe. Maybe I'm making stuff up because I've already had the equivalent of like 3 shots today. I don't know. The finish, there's something in the finish I don't like, which I didn't really pick up on the last time I was drinking this. But it starts out very like citrus bright and then kind of moves into that sweet floraliness. And then I think the finish is just like kind of that alcohol burn that you're expecting from straight liquor. Oh God. Yep. Okay. So that's straight up. I think this would be a really nice gin. Pour that out. I think this would be a really nice gin just on the rocks. A little bit of ice, and that's all you need, really. Maybe a flower for decoration if you're going to be fancy. But yeah, no, I think this is a really nice sweeter gin. It's not juniper heavy. Fun fact, gin is just flavored vodka. Turns out some people took some vodka and they were like, hey, let's throw some juniper in here and let's see what happens. And that's how gin happened. That is my very not scientific explanation. But when I first learned that, I was like, what the fuck? I feel so betrayed. I thought I was being like, A, either someone's drunk grandma who drinks way too much gin, or B, like fucking fancy British aristocracy, or just like the people who would go and like put a coin in a door and then they'd put their thing up and then they'd pour some gin in it. That was a thing in ye old merry England. Look it up. Okay, what am I doing? Martini time. That's what I'm doing. So a good martini should be 2 to 3 ounces of gin or vodka. If you don't like gin, that's okay. I'm probably going to judge you a little bit, but I won't judge you a lot. So we got our little easy measurement jigger. Boop. And a 1/2 ounce of vermouth. And I use an extra dry vermouth. If you like it sweeter, go for it sweeter. I just think once a vermouth and a gin gets too sweet, it just tastes like candy, and that's not really what I'm going for. I like my gin and tonics and my martinis to be very bright and lively, and they just, they're refreshing. You know, they're not like, oh my God, I had so much sugar today. You know, I don't want to have that feeling. So I've got my ice in my shaker, my gin, my vermouth. I'm going to shake it. Fun fact, you do want ice in a martini shaker. The reason we're shaking it is so that we can incorporate some water into the martini while also chilling it. So it's a really nice, fast, easy way to do that. Okay, so you know you're done when it's been about 30 seconds or the metal part of your shaker is kind of frosted over and it starts to hurt your hands. So my hands hurt means it's time to drink. Also, no matter what, hold your lid on. Like I can't, because first time I did this, I started shaking it. I wasn't holding on, and the lid went flying off. And that was about what I expected for my first YouTube video, and I'm kind of disappointed that that didn't survive. That didn't survive the power cut. Okay, so we have this lovely, icy, nice, pretty martini. It doesn't look like much. A lot of times you'll see martinis with olives. You can ask for a dirty martini. That's a martini with an olive and a little bit of the olive juice. I tried it last time with this one, and it just does not work. It's so bad. Do not put an olive in your gin martini. Just a little bit. There we go. So, every time I'm blown away because this tastes like nothing. It's so weird. This is a really like nice, verdant, vibrant gin, and you mix it with some vermouth, and it just tastes like nothing. It's the weirdest thing. if you like alcohol that doesn't taste like anything, this is the martini for you. Like I said, I did try it earlier with a green olive, a Spanish Queen, which is the martini olive, and it was so bad. So we're not doing that this time. I do feel like that this would do really nicely with some kind of sweet garnish, like a hibiscus flower garnish, or even a little bit of simple syrup. Because if we're gonna like go with the sweetness, you might as well go all full in. Or you can do that fancy thing where you like drizzle on the inside of the martini glass like chocolate or some shit. I wouldn't use chocolate, but you know, honey, I don't know. Point is, this is an underwhelming martini. It's got kind of like a really smooth aftertaste, so there's that. It's got that going for it. So yeah, that's the martini. Not impressive. And lastly is the gin and tonic. And again, even though I already did this once, I forgot to set up properly, so give me a second. There's a dog under my feet. Are you okay, puppy? You're okay. Okay. Sookie was under my feet. She's fine. She does the same thing to John. She just sits under our feet and gets run over sometimes. Okay, so gin and tonics. I always felt like gin and tonics are like the fancy drink. They're exciting. They're like sophisticated and very old English, British. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I always felt very fancy when I was drinking a gin and tonic. The first time I had one, I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't even like gin. Because as far as I knew at the time, gin was basically flocking in alcohol form. If you don't know what flocking is, it means you were born after 1990 before they banned it because it contained aerosols that were bad for humans. I'm pretty sure that's true. I could be full of shit though. It's been known to happen. Gin and tonic. So I'm very bad about not measuring my gin and tonics. So what I do is I get my glass full of ice and I just kind of eyeball it. About there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then my Fago tonic water, keeping it classy. Oh, also, thing you missed last time, I pulled this cap off and it started exploding everywhere, so good times. It'll probably happen to me again. So we're going to top this off with tonic water. And again, you'll realize as you drink gin that a lot of times these garnishes that bars kind of automatically put on things, like a gin and tonic typically has a lime. I think that's bullshit. I think limes are bullshit, and they are just there to cover up the flavor of shitty rail gin. I'm not saying that they're always bullshit. Sometimes limes are appropriate. But I've never had a gin and tonic that was made... I've never had a gin and tonic where I'm like, oh man, I sure wish I had a lime in this, because I try to get decent gin. So limes are the lazy man's way of making this shit palatable. Unless you like lime, in which case, go for it. I'm not your boss. Again, I'm like, this is really sweet. And I'm not a sweet gin and tonic person. Again, the first time I tried this, and I keep saying again, like you were all there, and you weren't. It was just me and my video that deleted itself. So basically, this is super duper sweet. I think the sweet end of this gin combined with just a standard tonic water is not a good mix. Unless you like Sprite. It kind of tastes like Sprite. Maybe oranges? I don't know. It's pretty underwhelming. Again, like, it's not bad. It's not a bad gin and tonic, but I think where this gin in particular really shines is on the rocks. And honestly, I think that's the only time I've ever said that about a gin. Oh my God, I'm going to be so drunk by the end of this. Jesus Christ. What were we talking about? Gin and tonics. Honestly, It's drinkable. It's perfectly drinkable. It's gonna get you trashed. It's gonna get me trashed. I don't know about you. And it's maybe a little bit too easy to drink in that regard. I like my gin and tonics very bright and kind of refreshing and citrusy. So there's that. I'm realizing that this is going on way too long. So if you like this show, or what the fuck ever I'm doing here, you can help me in two ways. You can either mail me a gin to review if you want me to review a certain gin, or you can PayPal or Venmo or what the fuck ever me money to buy said gin. I'm asking you to cover at least 50% of the cost of that gin. So if you're gonna tell me to review this super expensive, like $200 bottle of gin, $200 bottle of gin, I'm gonna expect you to send me like $100 to cover that, because I also want to try it, but I'm not just gonna like throw my cash everywhere when it really could be better spent elsewhere. Let's be honest with each other. So, yeah, if you like this, send me gin money. I've got 2 more gins in the wings, and by in the wings, I mean in my liquor cabinet that I'm going to review. I'll probably also try to do a video later this week about one of my favorite mixed gin drinks, so look forward to that. I'm going to get trashed now, or I'm going to continue getting trashed. This has been going on for probably a half an hour. So thank you for coming. Enjoy your quarantine. Don't drink too much, but drink just enough to make it bearable. Have a good day.